huh? Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where this week I've been daily driving this 2025 Acura RDX A-Spec Advance, an SUV that admittedly I haven't thought about in quite a while, and I don't think anyone really has. Maybe because it's been largely unchanged since 2019, or maybe just because everyone else has been making such polarizing SUVs in this class lately, like BMW with their new X3. But throughout my week living with this, I have come to appreciate it more than I think I ever have. I went to the launch event for the 2022 version of this, the first time they did a facelift, and I kind of left it thinking, okay, it's just kind of another mid-size luxury crossover, and kind of forgot about it. But I'll tell you what, I'm starting to like cars that feel a bit old more and more every time I drive one. And while I mentioned this is largely unchanged since 2019, which is when the third generation of the RDX came out, and I like that about it. I think that was a good time for cars, and they've done a couple of things here and there to update it throughout the years. 2025 gives us another update. We have a new grille. Check this out. I don't know that I would have noticed if I didn't read it in the press release, but there you go, a new grille. And inside, we have a new center console. Check it out. Otherwise, and now you can have CarPlay in full screen. Otherwise, it's unchanged since the 2022 facelift, which means we still have the K20 C4 under the hood, the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, making 272 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque. We still have the 10-speed automatic, and this still has super handling all-wheel drive. So a pretty good formula here, and essentially the exact powertrain you would have found in the old Honda Accord with the 2-liter turbo, and loosely in the same family as what you find in the Civic Type R. So this is a properly sporty SUV. The A-Spec Advance gets you adaptive dampers, so that's quite sporty as well, I suppose. But I just love the packaging here. I think Acura got this so right, which is maybe why they haven't changed it since 2019. But also I want to say that this is the first time I've seen urban gray, and this lighting in this spot right here, I actually really like this. I think this looks quite good. I always make fun of urban gray because Honda's entire press fleet seems to be painted in it, but look at the gold flake in this color. It's actually quite pretty, and it goes really well with this red interior. So today, what are we doing? Well, we're going to show you what it's like to live with this a bit. I was just planning on shooting a little evening commute video to downtown like we normally do to evaluate these cars, but then Emily wanted me to pick up grapes and ginger beer and bananas and a couple of other things from the grocery store. So we're going to stop on the way down, but through all of that, of course, we'll go through our little performance loop and things and see what this 2025 RDX is all about and see if it's still relevant in the new car market. But before we get on the road, let's quickly show you around it. And we'll start in the back. You can see our power liftgate opening up to probably the most ideal load level height in the back of this RDX. Under the trunk floor, we have even more storage, which we probably will use later once we go to the store. These back seats fold down quite easily with these manual latches, as you can see, and you have even more room. Not quite flat, but pretty dang close. It's crazy because from the outside, this RDX doesn't really seem like that big of an SUV, but once you sit inside, it feels quite large indeed. And as much as we like the outside, which, I mean, I don't think it's a class leader for exterior design, but what I love the most about this is the interior. And of course, it having red seats does help. That is quite attractive. But really, it's the ergonomics of everything and the design of the dashboard and things, which we'll show you once we're up there. But even in the back seat, these door panels are very pretty. You can see our first glimpse at our ELS studio sound system, which I thought Acura had completely phased out ELS for Bang & Olufsen, but we do still have ELS here in this RDX, so we'll give you a demo on that probably once we are downtown. But in the back seat, we've got a good little fold-down armrest with some cup holders, and sat behind myself, and I think this is in a comfort access position as well. At 5'11", I have plenty of room in this back seat. Plenty of headroom, plenty of legroom, and I've got comfy elbows back here. No climate control panel, which is a bit of a bummer, but you do at least get heated seats and a couple of USB-C ports and of course some climate vents to aim at yourself if you get hot. But man, this is a cozy back seat as well. It's quite squishy. And another perk of this is even though this has super handling all-wheel drive, there's not a massive drivetrain hump back here, so you could fit 3 adults with no problem. Before we jump up front, let's show you this K20 C4. I love saying K20 because I feel like that's like the Honda bros talk about K20s and they make like a bunch of power with them and things. So it's cool that this SUV has one. I know there are many versions of the K20. This one, as I said, being the C4. There it is right there. Just to reiterate, 272 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque. And what I want to mention is this is not unique to the A-Spec. They all have this engine. They all have the same power output. So the base model RDX starts at $44,000 and you get the same powertrain. Remember that. The A-Spec Advanced, this is the top trim. This starts at $54,000, so it's about $10,000 more expensive. This gets you the adaptive dampers, the ELS Studio 3D, some other unique interior trimmings. But I would like to drive a base model and see what that's like and see if it's really worth spending the extra 10 grand for the A-Spec Advance. This one as spec today is about $56,000. Acura doesn't really let you pick much besides your colors. And the reason this is 56 is I think just because of destination, but this is just built in Ohio. It's not really built too far from here, but you know, destination does not change based on where you are located when you purchase the vehicle. But I love that this is built in Ohio. It's local to here and it feels very well built. Very nice interior materials. I talked about liking the design of this, but man, let me tell you, you get the solid ka-thunk from the door, you get the intro sound, and then every noise this makes is kind of Gran Turismo-esque. From the startup chime to the dynamic mode selector, it's all very satisfying, but I don't want to go too far off track of what I was initially talking about, which is build quality and materials. We have the top of the dash here, which is just molded plastic, but they've actually done this in a pretty high quality manner. It looks good in my opinion. A little strip of Alcantara, a little strip of aluminum trim, and then this goes into the lower section of the dash, which is covered in red leather. This all kind of comes out towards the driver. Our newly designed center console. We've got extra room down here where I'm storing my phone and an extra battery for the camera. The only bit of offensive material is this piano black, but it does surround lots of physical buttons that are matte black that aren't going to get hideous fingerprints all over them. And it feels so funny to praise manufacturers for putting buttons in cars, but these days it is a rarity. And this climate panel feels like it's straight out of 2012, and I love it. I love it so much. And I just love going through all the menus and pretending that I'm playing a video game. We have this touchpad down here to control the infotainment. This is not a touchscreen, and honestly, I don't mind this system when you're in the actual Acura setup, because it's so smart. It knows exactly where you want to be at all times. The only problem with it is when you go into CarPlay and they haven't integrated kind of the precision, I guess. So you kind of have to scroll around and it gets a little bit tedious. But for the actual home system, it is quite good. And with the screen being that far away, you don't really want it to be a touchscreen anyway. I mean, obviously it would be a welcome addition because then your passenger would be able to change things here and there. Other thing I love about this, well, actually, this is something I like and don't like simultaneously, and that is the gauge cluster. I love it because it is real. It's there. They're actual physical gauges. What I don't like is that they are silver with red text on them. They're very hard to read. This is not something that is new. This has been a thing that these Acuras have had for a while. At night, it's no problem, but during the day, they're a bit hard to see. So I wouldn't change them out for a screen, but they're not my favorite gauges. Vent placement is good. Overall ergonomics, beautiful flat bottom steering wheel with paddle shifters. But anyway, why don't we go take this out on the road, open our massive shade, which opens very quickly for our big pano roof. Get some extra light in here. This new center console is good. You've got a wireless charger right here, 2 cup holders, and then this is a pretty deep storage compartment with a USB-A port there. And as the sun sets over the trees and we lose our lighting, let's get this thing out on the road and show you what it's like to drive. I'm gonna go back to CarPlay and run Waze for this trip. Into reverse, I actually like this push button shifter. I've got no problem with it. 360 camera and reverse camera there. Kind of low quality, but they do the trick. If you want to pop those cameras up, if you're going forward, pulling into a spot, you don't want to hit the front on a curb, you've got this camera button on the end of the wiper stock. That'll cycle through some of the cameras for you. All the inputs with this SUV are just beautiful. Steering is on the light side, especially when you're in comfort mode. The dampers are very soft as well in comfort mode. What is that in the road? I think it's just a branch. We'll avoid it anyway. And the steering's pretty quick. The car feels agile. It drives a lot smaller than it actually is, which I always love with a luxury SUV. I think the steering weight and steering feel overall, not necessarily in a sporty sense, but in a sense of ease. It's nice and it feels great in this RDX. Throttle input nice and linear. You're not breaking your own neck. Gear shifts from this 10-speed automatic are buttery smooth, and I like this transmission for a number of reasons. I like the smoothness of it, but I also like that it's able to aid this K20 to be in boost constantly. So this car, it feels a little faster, I think, than it actually is. Because it's just always in boost. Brakes feel nice as well. These tires make quite a bit of noise. I meant to talk about the tires. I don't even know what they are. There's some all-season that definitely favors quietness over grip, but that's okay. Let's go right into sport. Let's put the transmission into sport. We'll let it make its own decisions for a little bit, and then we'll try out the paddles. Not the crispiest gear changes. You know, there's no sort of noise in between gears that confirms you're changing them, if that makes sense. I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now. But it gets the job done in a very comfortable manner. You don't feel this 10-speed changing gears whatsoever. All right, let's take this around a corner. We'll go third gear. Give me third. Ooh, that's second. Nope, third. Really are kind of let down by these tires because this is pretty wonderfully neutral. It did understeer kind of catastrophically there, but just because the tires ran out of grip. But the chassis on this feels great. The adaptive dampers do a good job of stiffening up in sport. Genuinely, you can feel the difference. I almost kind of like the way they ride better in sport because they are a bit floaty when you're in comfort. All right, let's quickly get this off the line. I'm actually going to go back into sport. Jump on the highway, get this downtown. Build boost. There we go, 60 miles an hour. That feels like it happens in about 6 seconds if I had to guess via my butt dyno. Let's do some driving in normal mode. I've been doing a lot of driving this week in comfort, and I think it might just be a little bit too soft. Normal might be the good kind of middle ground here. But all right, let's talk about what this is actually like to live with. Is that a Cobalt SS? It is a Cobalt SS. Hold on. I'm chasing him down. I think it's a supercharged model. Cobalt SS brother. I always wanted that high-rise spoiler for mine. Okay, anyway, we're talking about an RDX. What is this like to live with on a day-to-day basis? Well, I talked about in the beginning liking this because it feels a bit old, and that mainly pertains to this middle bit here, actually having buttons in this car, actually being able to see and adjust the climate control when I want to. I'm distracted. I think that's an 07, perhaps. Shoot up. Oh man. All right, let's take this out of S too. I'm still sitting in drive, but I'm very comfortable sitting in this. Seating position is quite good. We've got I love car people. They're just the best. We've got so many buttons to do so many things. We've got this physical volume knob here at the top of the center stack, as well as a physical button on the steering wheel to control that. We've got our heated steering wheel button here. This is one of those cars where I think you could get in and just figure stuff out. Like you could put your grandmother in this car. And not have to show her how to use it. She'd be able to get the hang of it. And she's got enough torque to easily merge onto the highway doing 70 miles an hour. So we love that in a very easy manner. You don't have to rev this thing out super hard to get up to speed. Now, one thing I'm actually curious to try out is the adaptive cruise and all of the driver aids in this car, because historically, they've been terrible in Hondas, and this has been updated across the lineup for 2025. So I'm curious if this is good. Let's try it out. Cruise control set. I want to turn on the lane keep assist as well, and we're going to set this on the closest following distance, because usually that is what we want. Now, I did a road trip in the Honda Accord, the current Honda Accord with the Topher and Q, the Chaotic. We were quite irritated with the adaptive cruise system. It felt like it was impeding traffic the whole time. See, it's yelling at me too. We'll just keep a hand on the wheel so it doesn't have to prompt me, but this actually feels quite confident. Seat comfort in here is wonderful, honestly. These seats feel great. You've got a ton of adjustability, all of which is achievable on the side of the seat. You can adjust your lumbar, you can adjust your seat bolsters, and you can adjust your leg extender. All right, here we go. It's still a little bit safe. It does feel like it reacts a little bit better than the Accord, but it's been a while since I've been in that. I would like it to be accelerating kind of as I'm changing lanes. All right, that's enough of that. Let's talk about other stuff. So I showed you, you can go through, you can do your leg extension. I want to mess with these bolsters. Oh, yeah, you can get this can hug you in nice and tight, but then for more of a relaxed trip, you can make them a bit wider, so that's quite good as well. So seat comfort overall is good. I remember Emily and I being a little bit fatigued by the MDX Type S. I don't know if those are the same seats as these, but these do feel a little bit softer, a little bit more comfortable overall. Seating position is good. I can see everything I need to out of the back. Visibility is nice without needing a camera rearview mirror. Side mirrors are a really good size. With the seat in the lowest position, I can see over the hood just fine. Steering wheel is kind of the perfect size and width, and I think it's very pretty to look at. It's really just, I'm trying to think of anything I don't really like about this car. It's been a struggle to figure it out. I've had a couple glitches with CarPlay, and as an automotive journalist, I'm required to complain about that. But for the most part, it's been okay. Ride quality here on the highway from the dampers is good. These tires really show their quality when you're cruising on the highway. They're very quiet. NVH is very acceptable in this car. What's not acceptable is going 45 and a 70. What are we doing here? Never like to see brake lights on an entrance ramp. That's usually a bad sign. It is properly quiet in here, though. I can whisper. I'm telling you guys, this car's a little bit of a hidden gem in the market right now. In the sea of BMW X3s and Lexus NXs. I mean, this might be kind of the fun underdog. You can pick up used ones as well. I mean, since they've been the same for a while, you don't have to buy one brand new. Get one that's certified with a warranty. Gearbox makes really intelligent choices when going for an overtake on the highway. I just think calibration here is so perfect for what this car is. Not to mention, look at this physical dimmer switch for our gauge cluster. That is a rarity these days. We're going to jump off the highway and start getting this into the city. Now, usually we roll our windows down and see what kind of sound we can make. And maybe we'll do that with this. Why not? It actually does sound pretty good. I just don't think it's going to be loud enough to do anything, but we'll see anyway. Let's go into sport, into manual. A little bit of blow-off sound there. But what I actually really love about this K20 is that it does a really good job of existing in the background. It's not a grainy 4-cylinder, but then it doesn't make a bad sound when you actually have to rev it out. All right, let's see. Yeah, nothing. Just a vacuum cleaner. That's okay. We don't need our RDX to be making all sorts of spirited sounds, though it would be kind of cool, honestly. I think that might be the one thing that Acura is missing here, is like a higher trim, like an RDX Type S, but there must just not be a market for it because they haven't done one. So they do kind of like the what do they call it, the PMC special editions, like they did the orange one and the blue one. But as far as like a high performance variant, this is as close as you can get with the Advance. Either the Advance or the A-Spec Advance, you get the adaptive dampers. But just kind of driving it along here, it's easy. It's dialed in, it's smooth, it's comfortable. This has auto stop start. Massive physical button right here to defeat that if you would like to do so. Got a head-up display in this car. You can raise and lower it over here with a physical button. You can dim and brighten it over here with a physical button. You can turn your traction control off. You can turn on your brake hold. All of the stuff. And there's a place up here to put your sunglasses. How about that? Auto headlights just turned on. Let's see, this week while driving this RDX, we've gotten 18.5 mpg. I want to say this is rated at 20 combined, so we're not doing too bad as far as diminishing that. Obviously, we've done some spirited driving and things, but this is not quite as efficient as maybe I would like to see, and especially since this isn't necessarily a high trim model. Is that a... I would like to turn down here. Acura on Acura crime. We're good. It didn't have to happen. Is that an MDX or an RDX? That was an MDX. We're going to park over here today. We're going to switch things up because that first side of the parking lot is just a bit too much today. I just don't think I want to deal with it. There was a Michigan game today, so Ann Arbor's just a bit chaotic. I love when people wave. It's just so polite. Okay. Let's put this thing right here. Why not? Deploy our parking cameras, see how I'm doing with parking. Not too bad. I'm a little right heavy, or a little left heavy rather, but that's okay. I think we're pretty safe out here in this part of the lot. We're in between the lines. Okay, we're rambling at this point. One thing I want to compliment this on actually is that it has a locking glove box, which means I can stick my camera in there while I'm in the store. So that is good. I love that little outro sound that it plays. All right, let's see spacing in the spot here. This is just a good size overall, I think, for an SUV. Cool. All right, we've got a fellow Honda joining us here. It might be kind of a good size comparison. You can see the Pilot is quite a bit bigger than this RDX, but I'm gonna throw my camera back in here, go in the store, and then we'll show you some underfloor storage compartment action once we get back. Walking back up to the RDX with my singular bag of groceries, we have rear proxy key. Wow, this car just keeps getting better and better. Now I could just stick this on the floor here behind the driver, but I would worry about it falling over. So let's go ahead and maybe see if we can use that underfloor compartment here in the trunk. And actually, I'm gonna try opening this with my foot. Aha! right in the middle. That's the only place that needs to be. And also, it makes me notice this little rear diffuser that they've got in this rear bumper. That looks quite nice. All right, anyway, let's see if maybe... and it's going to keep it nice and tight in there. And look at that. Can't even tell I have any groceries in this RDX. We love to see it. All right, let's jump back in and finish the rest of our trip here to downtown. We'll start with the sound. Never want to interrupt the fun sounds, but we're going to start with a sound system test of this ELS Studio 3D system. And per usual with an ELS Studio 3D sound system, the quality is pretty top notch. I'd put this probably top 3 in the segment. It's hard to beat Volvo's Bowers and Wilkins, and even the Burmester and the Mercedes GLC is pretty good. But this is right up there with the elites, I would say. And Acura usually prioritizes the sound system quite a bit in the car. In fact, the only trim of this that doesn't come with the ELS is the base model. The other 4 trims do. So that is pretty cool. Yeah, you may have noticed me put this into comfort mode. This is a pretty rough section of road, so I want to be as soft as possible. These dampers get borderline floaty, and you notice this mainly when like coming out of a driveway, when you go down that curb, or if you go over a speed bump, you'll notice quite a lot of rebound, almost like a Bentley Continental in the way of its softness. But I like it for something like this because I can just like bomb over all of these bumps, and the car just soaks it all up. It does not care. So, I mean, this is just about gonna wrap this up. I mean, this car does just about everything right. It drives great, it's quick enough, it's got good tech in here that's easy to use, it's got a great sound system, the interior is pretty. The only thing that and this is just kind of Honda and Acura as brands, I wish they let you kind of pick some more options instead of just picking your trim level and then picking your color. I wish there were maybe some more bespoke options on this car. You are, of course, able to opt for some dealer accessories, like there's a set of black wheels you can put on this, but it's all at the dealer. So they kind of only come a couple of different ways from the factory. But as far as this car goes, I mean, it kind of stands out in the segment because everything else has just gone to screens and they've taken all the buttons away, and I don't think this car really used to stand out, but now in a sea of screens it kind of does. And obviously it goes beyond just having buttons in here. This car drives great as well, as I kind of prefaced this with. But I appreciate this RDX more than I ever have, and in the year 2025 this car is just wonderful. It still fits in the segment just fine, and I think it's one that I would recommend. It's one that gets forgotten quite a bit, but it is certainly one that I would recommend. Maybe to somebody that's cross-shopping something like an NX or a new BMW X3. I mean, this is just leagues ahead of the new X3. I hate to put the X3 down, but man, this is just so much better. Sleepy-eyed me out of there in yellow. Oh, and today is Sunday, so parking will be free. Let's see if we're at a good height. We'll deploy our cameras here. Yep, everything is good. Check this out.
Please select an event from
Perfect height.
Please proceed into the line.
I love when I pull the ticket out so fast the machine can't do its entire voice prompt. RDX. I've been noticing a lot of Acuras this week. I don't know if it's because I'm looking for them or if it's because they're actually out and about. I don't know. Anyway, though, ambient lighting, quite nice in this car, and it changes based on what drive mode you're in. Or you can set it to do that. I suspect maybe the Topher changed that setting. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it's red no matter what, so that's just what we'll be living with today because I don't want to go into the settings. But there are actually a lot of different color choices, which I do quite like to see. But all right, guys, well, I guess that wraps this one up. I mean, I would be curious to hear your thoughts in the comments about the RDX. Do you think it's too outdated? Do you think it fits in perfectly? I suspect we'll probably have a couple more model years of this car, maybe just through 2026, and then it's probably going to be refreshed all together. And I don't know, Honda and Acura are actually pretty good about their technology. Like even in some of their newer cars, the new Accord, the new Honda Pilot, the new Integra. I mean, they're all pretty easy to use and straightforward. So I would assume that they would kind of employ that same tactic for the RDX. I don't think that this car is going to be lost to the Teslafication of automobiles. But as it sits right now, I think it's just about perfect. It drives great, and I really just had a great week with this car. And it has rear proxy key. I mean, come on. Really just can't complain with this thing. So let's get this pulled up onto the roof of the parking structure. This feels quite agile going through here as well. As I said in the beginning, this car definitely drives a lot smaller than it actually is. Put this right here just momentarily for our outro. But that's going to wrap this one up for us today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Please let me know if you have any questions regarding the RDX A-Spec Advance. Of course, we'll have the spec in the description, even though there aren't any options, so it'll be only like 2 lines. But anyway, it's been a great week with this car, and I look forward to seeing what happens next with this. But for now, it's quite good. Look at that sun coming through there. It's October, but it was like 86 degrees today, so I'm milking this warm weather as long as I can and doing as many sunset drives as I can. So, all right, guys, well, that's going to wrap it up for real. Thank you again so much for watching. We will see you in the next one. Take care.